A ship called Genesis docks in New Orleans, with several containers of unknown goods that will be sent all over the city. At the same time, Biggie gets Newt and a group of dealers together and gives them the newest upper. It's named Power. After taking it, people can do certain things for 5 minutes. The uppers are free for the dealers to use, and they can sell them for any price they choose. After that, Robin sneaks out of her house to sell Power in public. 3 teenage boys can tell she's a girl. The uppers are taken away from her, which starts a fight. Robin tries to defend herself, but Frank, the police officer, steps in and stops the fight in the middle of it. The boy pulls out a gun and stops them. The boy takes the drug to get stronger and get ready to fight. Frank tells him Power has hurt people and even set things on fire. The boy takes a moment to think. Frank takes the Power and puts Robin in jail, which makes the other guys run away. When they're by themselves, Frank. He tells Robin that he's her friend and then lets go of Robin. He buys Power from her and gives her an old dirt bike for his birthday. Art looks at a slum flat the next day. Art sees Newt standing behind the door with a gun to his head. Newt won't open the door when Art asks him where he is. Art still gets Power by having a trick to open the door and get inside. Newt's drug use has terrible scars on him, and he's also hiding a huge amount of drugs Power in his apartment with an alligator watching over him. After that, Art shows Newt a gun and says, when Newt tries to grab it, Art shoots it away. Newt hides while Art takes his phone. He is in a different room and needs Power to use his skill, which makes his whole body catch fire. It fails, and the room is set on fire. Newt then starts to chase Art through the building. He makes him fall off a cliff, but Art grabs on and jumps into Newt, feels like his body is weakening, so he takes 3 more pills and goes after Art. When Art's neighbor throws water at him, he runs to the toilet and soaks himself and wet his coat. I put the jacket over him and pushed him into when Newt comes to get him. Newt won't talk at first, so Art hits him until he admits that he got Biggie's Power. At that point, Newt's body starts to shake, so Art leaves before Newt bombs. This makes him think of an accident he and his daughter were in. Before going to school, Robin checks on her sick mother, Irene. While she's in school, Newt's phone is being used by Art to answer the text message that Robin sent to ask for more Power. The teacher then tells her she wasn't paying attention and asks what she plans to do for now. Robin's friend tells her she's a great rapper and starts making a beat for freestyle. Robin gets angry and yells at the system and her teacher because she is scared. Her friends join her. He would watch everything and cheer for her, but then he'd tell her it was all in her head. When the teacher tells her to, she either puts down her phone or goes to the principal's office. Afterwards, a lot of police rush to a bank where an unknown criminal has taken hostages, sets a timer, and moves someone else's desk when no one is looking, taking his watch away. The hostages don't know who the thief is when he goes in through the back door. He can move nearby without being seen because he can blend in with his surroundings. He hits Frank and knocks him out. Frank starts to chase him right away by following the bags where the money went. He hits a few people on the run and changes the color of his skin as he steals a car, hits him while he's riding his bike. So he drops it and gets on a tram instead. When he checks the bag, the powder bomb goes off, telling Frank where he is. The driver stops when Frank shows his badge. The thief then leaves again. Frank follows the man through a cafe and ends up in an alley. He trips and falls, letting the man get away. You could shoot Frank with his own gun, but he is very tough, so the bullet would miss him. Frank quickly got better and finally caught the person who was beating him until he is told to stop by his captain. Frank's captain scolds him for using power and is asked to show his ID and gun. Frank tells him that criminals have an advantage if they have superpowers, so this is the only fair way to fight. Often, people from higher up show up too, to keep Frank guessing that the captain knows more than he says and get him to offer to work for him. Not on the record, the captain shows Frank a picture of Art and says he thinks Art might be the source of power, so they need to catch him to improve things. Art is waiting for nighttime. This is where Robin and Newt usually meet. After getting there, he stands back and looks at her. Robin doesn't see Newt, and she leaves, only to find that her bike tire has blown out was cut. Art grabs her and throws her in the truck's trunk. He then drives her to in the middle of nowhere and tells Irene she will be caught if she doesn't talk. Robin is willing to help she told him Newt gave her power, but she didn't know anything else. Then Art came along. The woman and bald man in the picture don't look like anyone she knows, she says. When Robin texts Frank for help, Art takes away her phone right away. After that, Art that number he got from Newt's phone he gave her. She acts like she's a dealer who is in trouble. She is told to ask for alligator wine at a certain grocery store. They both make it to the market. Robin asks for the wine, but Art is busy with another customer and lost track of Robin. Watch out for Robin. The girl doesn't ask to see a man named Cuello in the back, but she is taken there. Art keeps shooting or knocking out the guys, and someone shot at the truck, so Robin has to hide to avoid getting hit. When all the bad guys are dead, he shoots Art out of the blue when he goes to check on Robin. Art gets hit by the bullet, but it doesn't hurt him. He keeps going and kills Cuello too. Art finally lets Robin out to save her, but the pain makes him see things that aren't there, and he starts to think that Robin is his daughter Tracy, whom he has lost. He hears Robin's voice, which wakes him up, and he quickly opens another door. They need to find a secret computer room with cameras that watch all of Power's users. The power provider is giving power away for free since he wants to see how people in the area like it. There is a message telling them that there is a presentation coming up in... It takes 2 hours, but Cuello is able to get the bullets out of his body with the help of Power is still on, and Art is looking at the screen. Robin goes back to the market to Cuello hit her when she went to get help. He was about to stab her when Art jumped on him and stopped him. He stabs him over and over until the power effect wears off, and Cuello dies. She breaks one of the doors with a brick because it is locked. On the other hand, Art begs for help, and he gives Robin a lot of money and says he just wants to find his daughter. Soon after, Art wakes up in a vet's office while Robin is bandaging his wounds. He needs to go to the event. Art tells them on the way to the event that he used to be a soldier who was tested for power by a business called devious. Power was his once and almost killed him, but he lived, not like his friends in the army. He left the army and began a new life. Tracy had powers from the moment she was born because the part was already there. When devious heard this, Art's seed was planning to take Tracy away to test on her. Art tried to sneak away with her, but they were caught, and Art's bodyguards pushed their way out. Art got stuck and couldn't move after his car crashed. Vicky had to watch as she was taken away. When he tells the story, the past and the present come together and he starts to drive like crazy. Robin stops him just in time, which is good. In the end, they get to Art tells Robin to wait outside while he goes to the speech site. A guard tries to stop Art when he gets inside. Since he's not on the list, Art quickly knocks him out and looks for a devious card in the deck. Art then steals the guard's jacket, sneaks into the presentation, and says he is a worker, is showing power to the boss of a South American drug cartel, and telling him that his plan is they have DNA from a lot of different animals to take evolution to the next level, best survival skills, so that other people can have them too. Frank finds Robin and tries to persuade her that power is not Art, but she refuses to listen. Go back to Biggie. He tells a woman to get in a tank and take some power. It starts to hurt her skin. As she breathes on the frosty glass, she can change the temperature of her body. Art sneaks up on a barman, and Art says he will kill Biggie, but the cartel lady doesn't care and tries to leave with power. When one of Biggie's men comes in to stop the woman, he takes power right away. Biggie's and the lady's men start shooting each other when something explodes. Quick on both sides, they begin to lose people as Art joins the fight. It is possible for 2 bodyguards to keep the cartel lady to help her get away. Biggie drops his tablet as he runs to safety. The power goes out for the woman as the tank starts to break down. She yells, while her boyfriend kicks the tank to try to break it. It hurts her. In the end, the frost takes over her body as Art grabs Biggie and shakes him until she's dead. He shoots Biggie again. He cuts off his fingers and shows him the picture. He finally gets the message from Biggie that those are the project's leader and Wallace, who worked for her and stole Tracy a boat called Genesis runs the business. At that point, Frank joins and is about to turn Art in, but Art takes his gun away quickly while they argue about Robin and Biggie. When it gets power, it grows into a huge monster that hits the ceiling and does a lot of damage. Bullets don't hurt him, so Art and Frank run away. Both of them slide under him, and the 2 of them go down a back hallway. Art opens a bunch of petrol cans as they run gas tanks while Frank takes some power. Art shoots the petrol tanks when they get to the exit and sets off a big explosion that kills Biggie and shakes the street before the Biggies get there. Frank then puts Art in jail, and when Robin tries to help him, Art just tells. When Robin gets on her bike, she sees Wallace with the police. She knows him from Art's picture, so she decides to follow him. Art tells Frank at the same time that in a moment, he thinks his captain will tell him not to go to the precinct, but somewhere else true, and Frank figures out that his captain is one of the cops. Telios paid off hears Art and learns that the sample they used to make power was his daughter. This news will spread to everyone else in the world if they don't stop. They agreed to make a plan together. Frank is already gone when the Telios men attack the car. The Art is then taken to the Goes to Noah's Ark and meets Gardner. Gardner did the tests on him, and Frank is mad to see her when he gets there. Frank gives her a special earbud that lets her listen in on what's going on and let him know after getting some power. After that, the guard leaves the area. He leaves the door open because he thinks Frank is dead. Frank gets better quickly because of his power. But he loses the bud that connects him to Robin as he sneaks in and kills the guard. He doesn't expect Robin to sneak in from behind, but she does, because she's worried about the lost connection hides in a van that is being loaded onto the ship. In the next step, Robin looks around the control room. Frank is handcuffing some sleepy workers. The guys who are with Art can be seen on the monitors to get Robin to open the door. After that, they find a map. Frank gets a gun and an earbud. Robin closes the heavy door behind him when he leaves. Another powered guard finds Frank and quickly takes his weapons away. But the guy is made of rubber, so Frank can't hurt him. In the fight, Frank drops. Robin needs to talk to him over the speakers. Wallace finds her and hits her door with a punch. Though Frank is stuck in a tight rubber hold, he still pulled the guy to a nearby door. Wallace finds that he used his axe to get out of the hatch, and as the ship takes off, Art says he's taken a power dose that whole time and talks the guard into letting him go so that his powers don't hurt anyone. That's when Wallace and Frank found him, so Wallace punched Frank and then turned to Art. Frank gives Art his gun, and Art kills Wallace with 2 easy shots. Robin then goes back to her room, looks around the lab and hears a guard coming, so she hides and waits for the right time to knock, takes his key card, and finally gets into the lab rooms. When she finds Tracy, she sees the scars on her body from the tests. At first, Tracy is wary, but she's immediately happy when she hears that her dad is there. All of a sudden, Gardner comes looking for Tracy as well, but the girls are able to hide under a hatch just in time. They then run off on their way out. Soon, they get to the deck and meet up with Frank and Art, who finally gets to hug his daughter again. The group then tries to find their way out among all the containers, only to be stopped by a guard who could make his way out. A fight breaks out, and the guy uses his bones to cut Art's weapon in half. Art grabs a metal rod to protect himself. Frank tries to get the girls to the lifeboat, and he used his body to block the bullets. But Robin saw Art was in danger and went back to help him. He gets hit by a hook, and Art kills him by stabbing him. After that, Art runs to the lifeboat to get back with the others. But Robin is caught by Gardner, and the guards ask for Tracy in exchange for Robin's life. Art then comes out and takes power, getting the power of a pistol shrimp. This lets him turn the water around him into steam and shoot out very hot shock waves that kill all the bad guys in seconds. Robin quickly dodges the attack. Just in time, all the containers are brought down, and a crane hits Gardner Art Center. He passes out because his body can't handle that much power, which means he's about to die. But Tracy quickly helps him and heals him with her powers. Now everyone can get on the lifeboat and finally get away. Later, Art tells Frank that he's leaving with Tracy to start a new life. Frank plans to write about the story for a newspaper so that he can show how corrupt the police force is. Robin tells her mom she will take care of her with the money Art gave her as a thank you.